Good afternoon, good evening. It is Friday night and it's Second Fridays. Welcome everyone for another wonderful evening of Second Fridays with the Charles County Arts Alliance. Second Fridays was started as a way and to provide us with an opportunity to connect with our community in Charles County and Southern Maryland. As a result of the pandemic, we were looking for virtual programming. And through this through this project, we came up with Second Fridays. We've been going strong since November, where we highlighted music. December, we discussed dance. And I'm so excited that we have three wonderful artists from the Charles County and Southern Maryland, where we will take on the visual arts. How are you all doing today?
I'm fine.
Great. Awesome. So I am Monique Walker with the Charles County Arts Alliance. And before we move on, I want to acknowledge I am presenting from a small section of the historic, unceded, and traditional land of the Piscataway people, past and present, and honor with gratitude the land itself and the people who have stewarded it throughout the generations. This calls us to commit to continuing to learn how to be better stewards of the land we inhabit as well. So with Second Fridays, with that being said, and Second Fridays, we stream live via YouTube and Facebook. So we invite any and everyone that is watching us this evening to please, if you have comments or questions about the Arts Alliance or our panelists, just drop them in the comments and we will try to answer them during our discussion this evening. So we're going to begin by introducing our panelists. We're going to take them one at a time. And after the introduction, I would love if you could just give us some insight on your, who you are, basically your art story about the visual arts, particularly in Southern Maryland. So our guest artists, our guest panelists this evening are Draya Bryant, Adrienne Dronenburg, and Julie Meisel. So with your art story, I'm going to give a brief introduction as I go through each panelist. And after I do that, if you could just tell me a bit more about yourself, what's your chosen medium and what you're currently working on, if anything. And also, just even if you could, tell us a little bit about why you became an artist. So let's start with Draya first. Draya Bryant is a multimedia artist who creates original and custom artwork through her website at loveyourweirdo.com. Hi, Draya.
Hi. Oh, well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for having me. This is great to be here. My grandmother is the reason that I am dedicated to art the way that I am. Was named after her. Just it's almost like my mother just kind of plugged me in to copy everything that she did, and I definitely did. It came so natural to me. So from the time I was a small child, I had all of these different tools at my disposal. I could express myself artistically any way I wanted, and it was easy because she was right there to give me the guidance that I needed. She was more of a hobbyist than a professional, but she's really good. So I was lucky enough to have her as the person who kind of sparked things for me. And I used a lot of acrylic paint because of her. It was easy for a child. It dried fast and I just never stopped using it. So acrylic is the main medium that I go to. I also like to use digital art as a way to express any of my artistic needs or creating logos for any small businesses that might need something. I got inspired to work with the digital medium because I grew up with three brothers who loved video games, and I was so moved by all of the different scenes and just the the intensity of the stories and being able to like just kind of feel like you're in a movie, my brothers helped me to really get into video games, and Japanese animation also helped me to find a love for digital artwork. So, and the things that I'm working on right now are just trying to expand my website and hopefully eventually get to a point to where I'm making enough money off my website. Uh, I won't have to work my 9 to 5 and just just paint and do whatever I feel like doing, and hopefully just present those things to people, and you can buy it or you cannot. That's the dream for me.
Yes, I love the dream. Thank you so much, Drea. Looking forward to hearing more from you. We're going to transition to Adrienne, Adrienne Dronenburg. Am I saying your last name correctly, Adrienne?
Yes, it's Dronenburg.
Dronenburg. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Now, Adrienne was born and raised in Southern Maryland. She is a freelance illustrator who specializes in digital art and comic style art. She also does some graphic design work, including logos, banners, and other digital media. She has enjoyed drawing since she was young, drawing anything from fan art of her favorite video games to dragons and other fantastic creatures. Almost all of her digital skill is self-taught, taking only traditional art classes in high school. She has done a wide variety of work, from taking personal commission work of fantasy characters to local business logo design. So with that, we will also share your art portfolio link in the comments along with Drea's. But Adrienne, please tell us a little about your art story.
So I've actually been drawing for about as early as I can remember. I used to actually get in trouble in school for drawing in class. So, and but my parents, they were like, "Well, you like to draw." So I remember in 5th grade, my parents bought me sketchbooks and color pencils, and really tried to push me to get into art. I actually didn't even take band. That's how much my mom was trying to get me to really embrace my art. And as I got older, I was especially influenced by Japanese animation as well. I was actually really big into Cardcaptor Sakura, and that really started to early influence my style. And I started to, as I got older, I also tried to put my own twist on it a little bit. And I basically try and do my own style, but I also like to, I'm trying to basically pursue more freelance work. So I'm also trying to branch out and do other things like Twitch emotes for people's Twitch channels. And also I'm also working to expand my website as well. I'm working on trying to relaunch my webcomic that I had started a couple years ago. So it's always just been something I've been doing, and I'm hoping at some point to work hard enough to also do this as a full-time gig.
I love it. Isn't that the dream? To do what you love, and then because then it's no longer work. So I definitely agree. Thank you so much, Adrienne. And then last and definitely not least, we have Julie Meisel. Am I saying it correct, Julie?
Meisel.
Meisel, thank you so much. Julie Meisel is a Maryland artist who started her journey into the fine arts as a crafter. She decorates cakes, makes homemade Christmas ornaments, and jewelry. Her mother, another Maryland artist, invited Julie to an open studio of a local art studio in 2009. And thus her fine arts journey began. Her first piece was a Southwestern motif in acrylics. Julie has since been working in acrylics, watercolors, oils, and pastels. She finds that she prefers working in pastel. Julie has studied with several well-known artists, Ray Ewing, Denise Calisti, and Hung Lee Smith. Julie has participated in multi-artist exhibits and shows. She has also donated her work for a local church's fundraising show. Julie has recently returned to her love of photography. She started out with a film 35 millimeter camera in high school and college. But when when her husband bought her a new digital DSLR, she had to relearn the basics. Julie is a member of a local photography club and has been taking courses and learning from her fellow club members. She loves taking nature pictures and is learning macro photography. So wonderful. Julie, please share your art story with us.
Well, like my bio says, I kind of came into the art world through the back door. I was a crafter, still am a crafter. I do make jewelry. Don't do cakes anymore, unless I really need to. But my mother, she actually was quite involved with the Charles County Arts Alliance, and she's a pretty good artist. I have lots of her paintings in the house, and she kept saying, you can do it, you can do it. And I said, I can't draw worth beans. And she says, just try. So I had wanted to do a round picture for over my mantle. And I couldn't find any, so I made it. And like I said, Southwestern style, because I grew up for a short period in the Southwest. But I think I'm heading back towards photography. That's where I've been concentrating my time. My mom's a watercolorist, and I find it very difficult. Pastels are much easier.
Right.
So, but yeah, I'm like I said, I was a part of a club, and up until the pandemic, we were going out and doing, field trips to here, there, and everywhere, but we're now stuck on Zoom.
Now, I think that's you mentioning that's a great transition to another question that I have. Just how has your art, your work there either carried you, or how has it been a source of motivation? Have you still been moving within, it'll be almost a year in March. Who'd have thunk it, right? So while we're hopefully have turned a corner stepping into 2021, what exactly has the past year been like for you all? Anyone can just jump on in.
Well, for me, the photography club, we actually got back in, I guess, March last year, doing Zoom, and we actually show each other our pictures using Zoom. And we had a summer photography scavenger hunt that encouraged members to go out and shoot certain items. And then I guess up until right before Christmas, we had showed off each week's theme, or each once a week. And it's actually helped us a lot. It's encouraged us to keep going.
That's good. That's wonderful. How about Adrienne or Draya?
So actually, I got a lot of artwork done in 2020, more than I have probably the past 3 years combined. But it's definitely it's a good escapism in my opinion. Gives me something else to think about and focus on instead of everything that was happening in 2020. So I definitely had more time to do more artwork, and it was definitely a big driving factor for the year for me.
Yep. I love how you use the word escapism, because I think for me, in the art that I do practice, growing up, that was something that I always went to. It was an outlet. It was a way for me to just escape whatever was going on, and I always felt free. When I currently teach dance, but I grew up and I'm a former professional dancer, so escapism is a perfect way. And while, in the beginning of the pandemic, it was a bit of a transition, I really felt like I had to fall back on that and, use these different skills that we do have to really push through no matter what at all. So thank you for reminding me of that also. Draya.
I feel you. I feel you on that. I think my experience with 2020 has been a little bit different from a lot of other people. I think sometimes I feel a little bit guilty because I enjoyed 2020. I enjoyed not being around anybody. I enjoyed not having to deal with anybody. And I got to spend more time with my daughter than I have ever had. I mean, we make each other kind of crazy and sick, but I loved spending so much time with her. I mean, it's sad because she can't go to school and have proper socialization with other children her age, but because we still go to work every day, and it's empty. I mean, the building's empty. So it's not like we come in contact with a lot of different people, but I still am one of the few essential workers that have to go into the office. And I've been lucky enough to have a job that allows me to take my daughter with me. So um, I lost a lot of money because I can't produce the same work that I used to. With Adrienne being able to kind of maybe stay home and like draw all the time, that sounds amazing. I that sounds awesome. I wish I could have pushed out a whole lot of artwork, and in theory I would have been able to, but because my daughter is doing school virtually, I have to be there to hold her hand. And it was, like you guys said, a transition, and it was really rough at first, but once we got going and I was able to kind of teach her the ways of the computer, and she got really good at it, got so good at it to the point to where I allowed her to take my digital tablet and started kind of teaching her how to draw on the computer. And through this whole year, I've watched her accelerate as an artist and become really interested in digital artwork. And she's so much better than me than I was at her age. I mean, it's been amazing. It feels like I sacrificed a lot of time that I could have spent doing my own artwork to just kind of give her some guidance. It's just really all been about her. And even though I lost a lot of money not being able to sell the work that I could do at like shows and things like that, it's worth the sacrifice. And it's just been really, really refreshing. And I've been able to gather a whole lot of inspiration and motivation to take with me into whatever my next painting moment is going to be, because it's almost built up over this last year of not really being able to produce as much work as I wanted to. So it's been good for me.
So your a couple of your comments have me wondering about how you all navigate the business world of art, or just not even, maybe the business side is one layer, but then also how do you navigate the art world, specifically in Southern Maryland? You know, once you have for Adrienne and Draya with your websites, that's something that is, you know, you'll be marketing to the world. But what exactly has worked, whether it's about selling art or creating the art? How exactly would you even describe the art world in Southern Maryland?
I could actually use some help with that. So more seasoned artists in this area, I would love to pick their brain and see what suggestions that they have, because most of the money that I make, it is online, but there are other opportunities where I can sell prints and at different like little vendor opportunities that pop up. But it's not like a Southern Maryland thing. I find just random places where someone might give artists the opportunities to sell their prints, and I make a decent amount of money sometimes when I get the opportunity to do that. But I'd like to kind of stay more in like the Waldorf area and kind of build a little bit of a community. It's just kind of hit and miss and random for me. Most of the time, if I'm making money, it's because I'm making it on Instagram and connecting with people that way. But a lot of people don't even have the money that they've had in the past, so they can't,
Right.
splurge on artwork like they were able to. So that's kind of how I'm dealing with it. But I could use some help as far as developing a better local rapport.
Okay. Anyone else want to jump in?
Well, I never really entered it to become a business or make it a business. I have been lucky enough to have I've sold 3 paintings. One was to a friend. I was giving it to her. She insisted on paying me. The second was through the Arts Alliance. They have their multimedia shows, and I've put pictures in since 2015. I've missed here or there, but I try and put them in every time. And one of my pictures sold to someone from one of the shows. And then I was offered the opportunity through the Arts Alliance to put in 2 pictures at the bank, at one of the banks locally. And they purchased one of my pictures there also. So the Arts Alliance has been helpful. And when I was a crafter, I would do their Kris Kringle fair, and I made money there. So I think the Arts Alliance does help, but we don't really have a big art community here, I don't think, in Charles County.
I would actually like to elaborate on that a little bit more. That's very true. I've sold a painting through the Arts Alliance as well. So, I mean, the work that you guys do is very helpful. So the comment I was making is just kind of based outside. Like if there was more, that would be great. But what you guys are already doing has been extremely helpful.
How about you, Adrienne?
Actually, most of my interaction with the local community is mostly through I used to put a lot of pieces in the Charles County Fair, and some of my artwork has been used to actually, I actually did t-shirts. It was a while back, but I actually did the t-shirt designs for the Center for Children, their biker run. And so I usually do more of my local art tends to be more business oriented, and more of my online art tends to be more freelance and illustration.
And that's interesting. And it definitely ties into another question, because as an Arts Alliance, that's one of the things, a question that we ask ourselves, we ask definitely in the office regularly, is what else can we be doing? Not that we necessarily are able to do everything, but it's great to know that some of the resources and some of the programs that we have provided have worked to your benefit. So that's definitely a joy. And as you all know, if you have any ideas, email us, call us, and let us know, because we're always open to finding a way to work with the art community. And I was going to do it later, but I also want to credit our current gallery specialist, Gail Claditis and Cindy Barnhart, for a lot of the hard work that they do, because they, at least for me, as long as I've been in the Arts Alliance, they've really been my window to Charles County's art community. And I've seen just some great and interacted with some wonderful visual artists as a result of the work that they do. So you have the Arts Alliance, and unfortunately, I know some of these questions, it goes kind of outside of the pandemic, because while we try to continue to have the shows, we can't necessarily can have things like the fair was canceled this year. But I want to shift a little bit and get let's just start to think about you all's creative process. I'm going to show just a slideshow mixing up of your work, okay? As I do it, I won't have music. I'll talk and just say with each piece whose work it is. And while I'm doing that slideshow, if you could just think about not necessarily when you created the pieces that I'm showing, but just think in general, what's your favorite part of the creative process? What do you enjoy most? Or if you don't want to share that, what do you enjoy least about the creative process? So let's think about that for a minute. And I'm going to get your artwork up here so our viewers can see the beautiful things that you all are doing. All right. So first we have Julie's work is right there for us, Serenity Stream. This was taken from one of our shows at, I believe this one was at one of the community bank shows. This here is Adrienne's. And once we, after this, you can definitely speak about these pieces as well if you like, because I didn't have the names to all of them. Again, with Julie, I love the animal and the flower, holding on to it. Again, Adrienne's. We have Draya's. A photograph from Julie. Adrienne again. Draya. And that's it. I had one more from Draya's. I'll pull that up. I missed it in the show, in that particular slideshow. But does anyone want to jump in and share with us what's your favorite part of the creative process, of your creative process?
Well, for me, as the photographs, I like to see what's out there. And I've been starting to take more pictures of animals. As you saw, I like animals in the pictures. Even in my paintings, I do. I have a lot. I painted my daughter's guinea pig, and I've got a bunny. Some of them came about because we were in classes and we were teaching. They were teaching us, and we had to pick an animal or pick a whatever. And my least favorite part is the drawing of the animals. That's why I like the pastels, because if I mess up, I can just fix it. With the watercolors, you sort of sketch it out, and then it's kind of hard to fix it after you've done it. Pastels, you can just keep going over and over it. But I just like to look at cute, fuzzy animals right now. That's my biggest thing. My squirrels probably just want to throw their hands up at me and say, leave me alone right now, because that's all they've been taking pictures of.
That's wonderful. Anyone else?
When I think about my creative process, I don't know if it's a favorite. Maybe it's a favorite part. I'm not sure if that's the right word. I think therapeutic is the word for me. I find that having an emotion and not knowing what to do with it, and instead of that running my life ragged, I can just surrender that emotion to my inner artist, and then I get the opportunity to express that through her. And it allows me to understand the emotion more by laying it down on a canvas and seeing it in front of me, and understanding myself more just by having an opportunity to visually see that thing that I'm feeling, because I don't have the words to describe it. So it's satisfying, and it feels like clarity, and it's therapeutic to have the opportunity to express those emotions through my inner artist. That's kind of the way that I see my own process.
And Draya, I did want to just show this last slide, because I think it's, given when you talked about your influences and the variety of work that you do, here's that other piece that we missed. It's a little blown up, but the little I know about anime, I recognized it. I was like, oh, I see, I see that influence now. Yeah, that one's pretty cool.
Yeah, thank
Adrienne.
you.
Adrienne.
Yeah, my favorite part of the creative process, I actually really like the sketching, the initial planning and sketching of the drawing. I feel like a sketch has a lot of potential, and I tend to get really excited. I'm like, this piece is going to be great, and then it's like, there's so much there. There's so much excitement and feeling in the sketch, and there's sometimes, when you finish the product, it may not, sometimes it doesn't live up to the hype, I guess, in my own mind. But definitely sketching is my favorite part of my process.
Well, this has been wonderful. I did have one thing, just one last question. And Julie made me think of it too, when I think about living in Southern Maryland. And I guess I always ask it because when you talk about animals, I recently saw a peacock yesterday, driving down 228. Never in my life had I seen that. I am from the city, the concrete jungle, grass that I grew up with. You know, I've been in Maryland for about 15 years, so I can stop claiming that city girl life, but I'd never seen a peacock. And, you know, outside of the zoo, and we were driving and my son saw it. And I was just blown away. So how does Southern Maryland, if at all, influence, influence your artwork, from the landscape to the, being close to a bustling city, as bustling as DC is compared to other places? But, how does it influence it, if at all?
Well, for me, I'm influenced every day when I'm inspired every day when I wake up in the morning and I get the opportunity to look at if it's early enough and I can watch the moon, just because it's so rural and open, and on my way. And the transition is fun, going from this place that's kind of country to DC every day. It's I don't know, it's a special thing to kind of drive from here and it'd be so vastly different from where I end up at once I get to my destination, and just watching the sky the whole way to work every single morning. It's a big deal to me and my daughter. It's just like, oh, look at that star, and
Yeah.
oh, look at the moon this morning. Or, you know, if it's a little bit later, then it's just like, oh, look at the colors in the sky. Oh, the sky is doing some stuff this morning. I mean, I'm inspired every day. It's just so open, and it's going from from something that's to something that's very organic and natural and nature, to something that's technical and square and
Right.
boxy, but it all, we find a way to make it just beautiful every day, looking at those two different elements. So I'm inspired by
Right.
the landscape, definitely.
I
Anyone
mean,
else? Yeah.
I find my family, my grandparents actually owned a boat, and we would go out on the water and see all the wildlife and the herons and the ospreys. And a lot of my I did a lot of nature landscape artwork early on in college, and a lot of it was definitely influenced by being able to go down to the Port Tobacco River and see the wildlife, and or be able to go out on the Potomac and see this beautiful river, or these the wildlife, the trees, the cliff sides, and sometimes the bridge is also even pretty neat to look at. And
Mhm.
we have a lot of cool things around here. And I mean, even going to DC, since DC is close enough, and going to see all the various art in the various art museums
You're
has
right.
also definitely given me a lot of inspiration for some of my own artwork.
Cool.
I second the outdoor. I'm an outdoor person. I've done Boy Scouting and Girl Scouting for 20 some odd years. I was the leader. And just to take the kids out, and my husband and I, he's now retired, we get to go to the rail trails almost every day if we want. We can go anytime we want. And I love trying to catch a picture of the blue herons or the ospreys. And I'm lucky enough, my mom is right on Cobb Island, and she's got a nest right off her dock.
Oh, wow.
And I can sit there and I can watch the babies grow. And I try and take the pictures, and I try and draw them, but I'm not too good with them yet. I'll get there. But nature has always been a big to do with me, and to be able to experience it without having to go to a little tiny postage stamp or whatever has been great for me.
That's awesome. Well, everyone, I want to thank you so much for joining us in this conversation. It's been wonderful for me to learn about your process and just everything, what your influences that help you make, that help develop you into the artist that you are today. It was, and I too, I think I'm going to get out some more. That's been, like I said, I've been here for about 15 years, but still trying to become that outdoor person. And that's what COVID has turned me into, a hiker and a biker. Never thought I would be on the trails, but it's wonderful. Even the transition, like from going from Charles County into St. Mary's. So it's been wonderful to see. And like I said, that peacock sighting is going to stick with me for a few days. My son saw it. We made a U-turn on 228 because I didn't believe him. I was like, you're kidding me. He was like, no, I saw it. And so we saw it. And the peacock was just so regal, prancing across somebody's lawn, made a turn into the backyard. So I was like, okay, we got peacocks too. And it was the male, the full colors. My husband doesn't believe us, but I will make him a believer because we saw it. But in any case, I digress from that. Again, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you all sharing your evening with us in another day and just really sharing the beauty that is Charles County and Southern Maryland, because we see it reflected through you and your artwork and also your story. So we really appreciate it. Do we have any comments at all, Mary, that we can share with everyone? No comments? Well, we thank you. We welcome everyone that's viewing to please subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as all our social media outlets on Facebook and Instagram. And then also we want to thank the Maryland State Arts Council for all the great work that they do and helping us provide programming like this, initially for Charles County, now the world. And then also a special thank you again to our our board gallery specialist, Gail Claditis. So have a wonderful evening. We do also, one last thing, next month, as we go into February, we are going to highlight storytelling and the literary arts. So it's going to be some great conversations with all sorts of people from our community.